here's kind of the problem. That's the previous owner's electrical for the jacuzzi. That's what I want to use to power up the heater. And now it's going to be in the middle of the floor. I think I'm gonna have to dig down and expose that conduit, see if I can move it so that it ends up in the wall. And then I might actually have to change the layout of this thing on the inside. My neighbor's watching me, I think. That's okay. That's okay. I want money. I want YouTube money. Well, no, I cleared the area out, took all this ivy down, and because I want the sauna to be 8 by 10, so 8 going this way, 10 going this way, I had to take the fence down. And the fence is super old. It's like falling apart. We were definitely going to replace it anyway. It's almost a health hazard. But I've never poured a pad in my life. So I'm just trying to watch YouTube videos and figure it out along the way. I took out a 2x4 and I got a level, and I just tried to get a rough idea as to how level it is. And that corner is higher than everything else. Up here, the pad would be all the way up to here, pretty much. So my initial thought is to put the form boards up and base it off of that corner right there, going as low as possible there, and then see where the form boards end up, and then build up to them. Then probably fill it with gravel or dirt, tamp it down, and then I want to make sure that that conduit lands in a wall. But the thing is, the position of this pad screws everything up because I want a door where that conduit is coming up. Anyway, that's the plan. I want to put the form boards up and see where we end up. As long as the form boards are level, I'll have an idea as to where I need to be. And I think after that is when I'll adjust the conduit, and then I'll start filling it up. But for the form boards to go up, I need 2 10-foot 2x4s, and I need 2 8-foot 2x4s. So first of all, this is the first slab that I've ever poured. I've never poured concrete that big before. I think maybe I made a bowl once. So my buddy David helped me out to pour the slab. After I poured the slab, I remember just waking up one morning and going, you know what, I'm gonna start framing. So I snapped out the lines on the slab, and I made a huge mistake, which was using a roto hammer to drill holes in the slab before the bottom plates were on there, or before the walls were up. What I should have done was built the walls on the ground, stood them to where they're supposed to be, drilled through the bottom plate and into the slab pretty much at the same time, and then set my anchor in that. What I ended up doing was stick framing everything. So I just set the bottom plates down, stood every single stud up, and toenailed everything. Now, am I gonna get a ton of hate for this? I don't know, probably. And then also, I didn't film any of it. I didn't film any of me framing the longest walls that you see there. Because I had a couple guys coming out to help me, I completely forgot that the camera existed, so I apologize for that. But this entire sauna is essentially stick framed. I didn't pre-build the walls and then stand them up. So I don't know why when I was building this thing, I forgot what overhangs were and what they were for. And you need to have overhangs. It protects from the rain, and you need them. So I cut out holes the exact same size as 2x4s, and I made overhangs. And it worked out pretty good. Another thing that was brand new to me on this project was putting shingles on. And I I did hear from a few people at this slope, shingles might not be a good idea because of snow load. I told them to suck it. It's going to be fine. And if it snows, I'm the only one allowed in there. End of story. No, it should be okay. I mean, I think what I might do is reinforce on the inside of the sauna before I start throwing insulation in there. I might put more rafter in there. Another 2x4 next to the 2x4 going down the center to reinforce it. But I think it should be fine. Huge shout out to David for helping me out. Thank you so much, buddy. So I've got kind of a basic idea of what I'm gonna do because I really did watch a bunch of YouTube videos and I need a 4-foot level, so I'm gonna see if I can borrow one. But I need some shims. Okay, so I was making shims on the miter saw and I was being relatively safe and it kicked so hard. My heart rate is still elevated right now, so I decided, you know what? Screw this. I'm not gonna try to figure out how to make shims and lose a finger today. Believe it or not, the sauna isn't even worth it. So I'm going down to Ace Hardware and I'm gonna just get a box of shims. Okay, allow me to interrupt for just 1 second. This is the first door that I have ever set in my life, and I was super proud of myself. It was all plumb and level and straight. And then right here you could see that I realized the door's not gonna close. Now this door was a little too tall for that wall, so I cut the bottom portion of it off. But what I didn't do was space either end off of that bottom plate just a fuzzy to give it a little bit of clearance, because the bottom of the door itself was the same as either one of the jambs. Is that what you call them, jams? Had to rip it all off. Had to put little shims underneath either side, and I had to put it all back on. Lesson learned. Man, if I can go back in time, man, So, this piece of siding that I cut out, it was the right size. But when I finally made the decision that it was going to stay where I put it, and I started to nail that sucker to the sauna, I realized afterwards that I could have shifted it over just a little bit. So the gap at the bottom of the seam is perfect. But at the top, you could tell that it's just going to the left ever so much. And unless I put a batten there or a board covering that seam, it's going to bug me every single day. Folks, this video is a comedy, in case you haven't picked up on that yet.